Invite Kayla.
Am I on here?
You are.
You look so pretty.
Hey, boo.
Oh, so long.
Is this me? Can you
Can
hear
you hear
me? Yes,
me? Yeah. Okay. You can hear me?
I can.
Okay. You look so good.
You too.
Thank you,
I
friend.
miss you.
I miss you too. And we haven't seen each other in person in one.
I know. This has just been the only thing that we have going. So,
Hey, Alicia. Good to see you, boo. How are you? And hey, we have people joining us.
yes. Hey,
So,
Sand.
hey, we ready?
Ooh.
I had to go back in it with you and Cherie. I was like, I was one of the people that sent my book back, but I sent my book
Yes.
because you had mentioned that somebody sent theirs back. So I was like, well, I guess I need to send
Oh.
mine. I didn't want to be the person like I had planned on keeping it, but I didn't want to be the person to hold it.
But I was running. I was like, let me find Kayla's book because all your notes are in here. And I was like,
Okay, okay, we good. We
you
good.
got new notes.
I, I have my copy now. So good. We are good. We're super good. Um,
Thank you, Sam. I love my poster.
oh,
Injustice,
look at
justice.
it.
Yeah.
Shout out to LZ.
Yes. This poster came from Labor Camp. They're on Instagram at Labor Camp. So they have some cool stuff on their website.
Okay, cool.
But yes,
Cool.
thank you.
Well, you want to jump into this thing?
Let's
Because
go.
we probably gonna be on here. We gonna
Yeah.
keep. We're not gonna do like we normally do when we get on the phone. Sometimes
Right. Right.
we gonna cap it off. Okay. I have a little agenda for us to try to keep us, within the little time, within the time frame.
Yes.
We're gonna see how we do with that.
Right.
You look so beautiful.
Thank you. You do
Okay. All
too.
right. Let's get started.
Okay.
I guess my first question is really easy. I want to know how you are doing today as a mother and how you are doing today as a woman because, I feel like that fluctuates day by day. So talk to me
Yes.
about how you're feeling today.
Today as a mom, um, I'm feeling good. I was just telling Alicia before you jumped on that I was running through the house looking for remotes because Trey is asleep and where it's just me and him in the house, and he is gonna wake up and not know where I'm at or not have access to me and probably freak out. So I was like, I have to find something for him to do. But yeah, today has been a good day, just hanging with the boys and feeling like, not overwhelmed. Thanksgiving break is this week, so we all get a breath. As a woman, um, I'm feeling good. I'm looking forward to family time, and I think not having this time last year really broke me down. The isolation and just being so, apart from everybody. And so all around, life is good. I can't complain. So
That's a blessing. Like that's a blessing. Everybody can't say the same.
hmm
So that is a blessing.
yes.
All right. So, like you mentioned, I was one of your early readers. I had the honor of being one of your early readers. And you had gave us a couple of questions to kind of reflect on, to kind of give you some feedback. And even in my review, something that I just kept coming back to after like reading the collection was that this is a love letter, to
hmm
mothers and to. So, when you sit with that, how does that make you feel? Like, that was, your
Oh
immediate.
my gosh. It just makes my heart overflow because to not just see it as like a love letter to myself in times of like trouble and difficulty and those growing pains, or just to see it as like a love letter to my boys, as like what I mentioned with Cherie, a reflection of like the legacy I would want them to have as like me as their mom and also as me as their mother, you know? I mean, as a woman. But it being like a letter for every like woman and mother, it especially like black mothers and black women, as we navigate just not just motherhood or loss or grief or healing, but growing through all of those things as women, you know, and seeking out like the community and what that means to all of us. So when you just having you like share that same sentiment is after you read it, you know, like because we can all like, I wrote this and this is the intention, you know, but people could read it like, girl, that I don't see that at all. So it warmed my heart to have you like see that as well, like when you read it. Even reading like your comments and stuff, there were things, you know, that I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't even, you know, think about, or that just the insight. And I think that's the beauty of like writing and being a creative and having people like engage in your art because they're going to pick up on things that you wouldn't even have thought about, you know?
Yes, and I think that reminds me of, and I mentioned that in some feedback that I gave you, like the flow was just so effortless, or it was kind of
Hmm.
hard for me to critique it in like, some kind of way
Yeah.
because I feel like it is for, it's your experience and it's for
Hmm.
people to, connect with it based on their experience.
Right, right,
Going to receive it, kind of like based on the things that they're experiencing as a mother, or me, like I kind of mentioned, not being a mother yet,
right.
still very much so, connected to me.
Hmm.
Feel like, felt a lot of, just a lot of the energy that you were kind of giving, and it, of course, like, even just influences me, or in some kind of way, like, prepare for, motherhood on some level.
Yeah, yeah.
And, gives me some type of insight on
Hmm.
experience, but it was definitely a love letter. And we have more people joining us. Hey,
Yes. Hey guys.
hey, Kiara, calling us beauty.
Hey sis.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and you and Cherie kind of talked about this a little bit, but from the perspective of the dedication being to the boys, and
Hmm.
because without them, there's no
Yeah.
Black motherhood experience.
Right, right.
But something that I loved, and I guess like a question that I wanted to ask was you also dedicated it to not just motherhood, but I call it like mothering roles.
Hmm.
And I do think that there's a difference, and kind of like truly being, a mom, and like hey,
Yes.
you can't take them off, you can't drop them, can't drop
Right.
them. And then of course like and maybe not, being a biological mother or
Hmm.
having kids that you go home to, but mothering role. Why was it important for you to shout out the mothering role, or like,
Yeah.
what was your intention behind that?
That it goes back to community and just this idea that it takes a village. And I really wanted that to be the thread throughout the whole thing that we need each other at the end of the day, whether you are or are not, or you have or you desire, we still need each other, you know. And there are so many people who have helped me way before, you know, like before I became a mother, when the boys were little, who have continued to just be a light for me as a woman because they built me up and spoken life into me and encouraged me. And at the same time, it's given me the ability to like maintain and move forward and be the best mother and woman that I can be for the boys. But also, so many of these people have spoken life into the boys, and they've been, like their extended aunts. I say all the time, they're gonna think, they're like, Mom, I had a whole lot of aunties and TTs. But she only had one sister, so I don't know how I ended up with like, all of these women in my life who have just played such an influential role. And I love like that they have that impact and that experience because their ideology of womanhood and even what mothering looks like isn't just coming from me. They're going to lean into the memories of their TTs and aunties and whomever else have come alongside me on this journey as my friends. And of course, my biological sisters and family members, but especially those who are my friends and have been my friends forever who have just jumped in to that role and really like open armed. These are my nephews, these are my babies, and love them, thoroughly. And that, like, we all need that. So, that, yeah, I love that you picked up on that.
Um,
Yes.
like you said, it really just taps into, and I don't think that I saw it that way, but just the importance of the village. Like,
Mm-hmm.
out just, like, again, like, the biological mom, or you get what I'm saying? It's about just all of the figures,
Mm-hmm.
all of the figures. So I love that. And it's so very inclusive.
Yeah, and I also, because I do mention like the mothers of the movement and just, I, I have a whole quote in here from Toni Morrison, and my love for her just goes beyond. But, even women like that who I learned after becoming a mother that they raise, boys and daughters and like Alice Walker and just their roles as mothers and the things that they learned on their journey, even if it wasn't like the best journey or they may not have been the perfect mothers, but I pull from all those places. And that's a part of, the village and building of one another as well, is that our stories are much larger and even, they don't have to be perfect for us to see ourselves in them.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, our books today. So if you have your copy, you can join in with us. And if you don't have your copy, Kaneeka has pinned it. You can just click that link right there and get it, and you can order it. And then you can go back and you can read with us.
Yes, if the link is clickable. If not, you can go on Amazon and type in a high place or my name, and then you'll be able to find it.
Join us. Get the book. It's amazing. You don't want to miss out.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to be giving the people excerpts. Okay. You're not getting all of this without getting,
No.
we're going to give
Mm,
you a sprinkle here. Okay. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And let me tell you, we're just gonna flow. Okay. So page 24, Kaneeka.
Let's see.
I'm gonna say that I think that this was a poem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I just want to I get like the first sentence. So we become mothers and get into this space of realization that we are still babies, even on our journey through womanhood. So I wanted to know, when did this realization happen for you? Or
Um,
it happening to you? I'm sure it didn't all just if it didn't happen just in one moment, like, when did it start to happen for you?
so this is funny because it's really that moment when you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Girl,
I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my God, wait, how do I have all this knowledge and these abilities and this insight to know this and do this. People let me drive on like a machine on the road on purpose, but I don't know what I'm doing. They let me leave the hospital with a baby. What are we doing? And so it like I'm sure. I think the first time around, like with Trey, there were more people and folded into the mix of like easing me into knowing what I was doing. But I like a lot of these insights came after the second time where I was just like, okay, so now there are two of them. Like what 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 do
But
you do now? One of my friends, hmm,
but did you feel experienced since it was your second? You know what I'm saying? Like you had done it. You had kept him protected and alive. You were doing.
I no, I still felt very amateur. Like, okay, I can get, how do you take these people to the grocery store? You know, like, how do I now balance my hobbies and things that I love and me while also doing this? It seemed much easier, you know, like, or easier to figure out and manage your time. But um I feel like I'm starting over. And that may not be the case for everybody. Like people may, you know, it may not take them to, but that yeah, I was just like, I'm still growing and I'm still learning. And I think you feel like you get you'll get to a place where you're like, okay, we're rocking and rolling. I got this thing under control, and it is a constant moving target. Like now, no, I'm not in the toddler stage and like the stages that get like the most like attention. But this 10, tween, I don't know, whatever this is, I'm back here. Like this baby, where I'm I had it together and I'm like, all right, I know nothing. What are we doing? Um, but yeah, I think that I love that so much because I do think that so many and so often we are told like you'll get it or you got it or you'll figure it out. And to say like I still don't get it, I still haven't figured it out, you know, it's like taboo. People don't want to admit that, you know. And so that was important to me. And even the title of it is called Attempt to Arrive. Because we're always striving to arrive, you know, like this is the journey is a journey. And I don't think like we'll probably arrive when we die, you know, like you know what I mean? Like that's the end and but everything in between is just learning and growing. Um, so yeah,
I like it.
I
Hey,
like
that was,
that.
we get it. We have a church corner. We have some amen, some rules.
Come on.
And Kiera said the simple
Yes, key era.
once you become a mother. Yeah, can I get an example?
Like, here, do you have an example? Um,
Let the people give let the people know what do we have. I feel like there is so much responsibility that comes with like that's the thing, you know, not being a mom yet. I think about once I go into that phase, like I'm going to be picking up the largest responsibility in my life. Leave it look
I was about to say taking a shower.
once in the bathroom. Every
Listen, me jumping on this live, I'm like still trying to like run through the house. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not just let me go hop on this live real quick.
taking a shower.
Yeah.
Now that makes me actually want to just ask you kind of go how do you think mothering is different for, I'm gonna say like millennial women versus like the mom of like, like our mothers or like, like our grandmothers?
I definitely feel like we're more isolated now,
Okay.
just in the type of society we are in. Um, and there's Instagram and Facebook now and social media, I feel like has played into this idea that you can do it all and you don't need anybody and you have to be like hyper independent to like raise a family. And I don't, that definitely wasn't the case in our mothers and grandmothers generation because everybody, we cackle on Twitter where people share these examples of like, did you have this like shower curtain or blanket? And it's like, man, we all live the same lives, you know what I mean? But even in the examples of like stories that people share about how they were raised and experiences they had like as a family, like good memories and joyful times, it all leans back to like having this village of people surrounding you that mamas and grandmothers were able to lean on. And it wasn't even down to like neighbors. Our neighborhoods aren't the same, like and then you throw COVID into the mix and everybody's like, don't
So,
knock on my door. No, they can't come out to play. You know what I mean? And so it makes it harder to like really connect and to see yourself in those vulnerable like states where you're like, I need help or I need support, or who are these people that can do it all, um, having this constant like imagery and these videos at our leisure to just sink further and further into it's only me. Everybody else seems to be, like the highlight reels. They didn't have that. It was understood that they were all trying to figure it out.
mm,
So I think that's the biggest difference for sure. And also like the biggest difference on like our self-esteem and like emotional state in motherhood. Um, I do wonder if like the older generations felt insecure or uncertain about how they navigated motherhood.
mm. Well, do you think that we're more vocal about it? Like maybe they just weren't expressing it or didn't have a vehicle to express it?
Can you repeat the question, Kayla? I'm sorry. I had a,
I'm, I think I was saying, oh, do you
you said,
think that
did,
they just weren't sharing like a lot of their experience, just more
yeah.
vocal now?
And yeah, so also at the same time, there are people like millennials are absolutely saying, I don't have it together, and maybe this will free up the space for somebody else to be like, yeah, there you sorry.
No, you're fine.
But yeah,
And
there
I think too, she said, right, the village lived on the street, not in another state. I
yes. Yeah.
with your situation,
Yes, Alicia.
mom, city. Can you hear me, Kaneeka?
Yes.
Okay, I was just saying I liked what Kiera said. Even like with you, like your mom is not in the same city as you,
Mm-hmm.
even though y'all are in the same state. And so, right,
Yeah.
we're millennials. Like as millennials, like we're leaving, you know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so that makes a lot. And I
And
like,
that, yeah, it makes a huge difference. That's a good point. Like, we aren't staying in our hometowns, like so many of our ancestors and family members did. And I share with Cherie that my mom never moved anywhere where there wasn't family. Whereas I don't know if we really think about that. As millennials, we just like, look, got this job or opportunity or whatever, and it, may change my life or whatever, and we're taking the risk, even if it means sacrificing like having something familiar nearby. So,
now, and that makes me want to ask you about the importance of building community for mothers. Like, like if your family, if you do leave home and you don't have family where you are, um, how, as a mom, like, how have you built community?
um, it it was hard. I was very like protective and afraid to meet people and um leaning into like the people that I had who didn't live here. But when the boys got older and it was like we need babysitters or we want to go out on a date or whatever, like what do? You have to like it's kind of like dating. Like you just you
Oh,
put yourself out there like, hi, I'm a mom, you're a mom. You find people with like commonality. So a lot of my friends that we have built like this very strong village with, a lot of us have our kids are the same age. And a lot of us have boys. And so naturally that has been the connecting thing just to share general information like my son is on this, is your son, um, but it's it can be hard and like scary, especially in these times. And where do you go? Like I'm like, where are the mamas at? So I went to a lot of libraries,
okay.
like story times, and sometimes you have to let your kid lead. Like you don't want to team up with a mom and your kid like despises their kid. You know what I mean? So you got to pay attention to like the dynamic of your kid. Like, do they like this kid? And oh, well, let me introduce myself to their mom, and then you can start up a conversation. But that when they were little was the main way that I met people. But then like other avenues of my husband having a gym and getting clients, and then they had kids, and so we met a lot of people that way too. But honestly, like I prayed a lot for community. Like God just sent people because
Mm.
I'm not really good at this. Like I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert who likes people and community. How's this gonna work?
I like to call it a social introvert. It's like I'm social. I know how to be social, but for real, I want to be to myself
Yeah,
on time. So social.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard to meet people as a social introvert because you don't really want to be social, but you want to be social. So it's this like you got to make yourself
I would
scared.
say, and in your case, like, to just bring it back, like, when it comes to building community as a parent, like you have to, because
Yeah,
I feel like that's what's best for the kids, and that's how
yeah,
you make it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how it's going to be a easier journey
hmm.
to navigate if you have that village and that community.
And I was gonna say too, as far as like letting your kid lead, he gave me an extroverted kid the first time around. Trey is an extrovert. He never met a stranger. So we'd be anywhere and he wants to talk to everyone in everywhere. And I would just be like, oh my God, I want to talk to these people. But it forced me, whereas Coley is not so much. He's more of an ambivert. He's like, I'll talk to you, but I don't know you. Like so it's
Hmm.
when he came along, he would see Trey talking to strangers, and he'd be like, "Why are you talking to strangers? You don't know these people." But having him first, forced, and sometimes that's why they're sent to us. We get the babies meant to help us grow in ways that we wouldn't otherwise grow in.
Mm,
And he really forced me to jump out of my shell very quickly because he just be in conversation.
yeah,
Um,
yes.
so, yeah.
Is.
Yes, Tiffany.
Open up again. Let's keep going. Okay, we are turning to page 47. Again, if you have your turn with us, and if you do not, you can purchase by access pinned on your screen or go to Amazon, type in a high place. You can't miss this beautiful cover. You can't miss it.
No.
Okay, Kaneeka, I loved this affirmation. Affirm peace out. Peace out.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to tell y'all because I'm reading, but I'm gonna read a couple of lines from the beginning, and then I'm gonna end with the last lines. Okay. Anxiety in motherhood is not a piece of my story. PIE. Okay? Peace. Anxiety in motherhood is not a piece of my story. I discover peace that floats around me and within me. PEA, peace. The ending is where this is where my question comes from. Peace, PEA, peace, my people. Peace is the garment to wear every day. Salah. You already know personal growth. Let's go.
Yes.
I feel like this is like fluff. What does that even mean? So, what does choosing peace every day look like?
Um, Not letting the small stuff send me spiraling.
Mm, mm,
Um, Telling myself, does this really matter right now?
mm.
I can get worked up, and this is also something that I talk through in therapy is that I pre-plan anxious moments. So the boys may say something about one thing, and I have like created a scenario within it of future things that it could lead to.
You just being oh,
And so now I am like worked up, emotional, overwhelmed about something that is not even happening.
mm,
Um, I have to choose the peace in the moment and really talk myself down from those places. Like if I say this comment or I make this statement about whatever they've shared, is it too much? Has my what I know and what I understand, and that's where I have to peace in my mind because I create I'll create stuff that is not even relevant to the situation. So for me it's a choice. It's a choice to like pause all the time.
breathe.
And like breathe
Let it
and yes, and really um like make these declarations when I have those moments because like like this is something I'm pulling out like Thursday. Like, okay, um, like this isn't a oh yeah, that one time I experienced this. I think you guys wouldn't know this is like I need this right now. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, like, and I think about, putting on like the armor of God, like all the pieces that the Bible lays out. When I think about it being peace as a garment, like putting it on all the time. Sometimes it may slip off.
I like putting on the pieces, stay peaceful.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes, Kier. The rabbit holes from hypothetical situations. Yes.
I love that. All right, look, we're gonna keep it
Hi,
moving.
Auntie.
We're gonna keep it moving. Okay, page 72, Kaneeka. Let-
See, see.
I love reflection, and you talked about so much within this reflection. The title,
Mhm.
you guys, is Fear, the Thief of Life's Best Moments, and it's a reflection. Again, we're not gonna give the people too much, but can I get a people?
Mm-mm. This,
No, we're gonna we
this.
just. She talks about just all of these different moments of, I'm going to say, feeling failure, or how fear, failure, and doubt are just constantly, like the title says, stealing life's best moments. Again, the title is Fear, the Thief of Life's Best Moments. And I just wanted to know, how do you not let fear do that? How are you learning how to do that? And as a mother, how are you teaching the boys that? Like, how are you trying to instill that in them to not let fear, like I said, yeah, like still be the thief of life's best moments?
Oh, so okay, so the first of how am I go to therapy. Y'all got to get a therapist because I can't do this in my own. I've tried it. It just, I need someone to center me. Okay, but right here in this moment,
Mhm.
is that what do you have control over? And a lot of fear comes from this, like, um, sense of like lack of control. Like, I can't control the situation. And then because I can't control the situation, then this can happen, which then this can happen. And so it leads to, and so now you're just like terrified to move forward. And or like you just canceled yourself. You're like, well, in that scenario, I don't win. So I'm just not even going to try. You know what I mean? But it's like, girl, you didn't even attempt. You just like scared yourself out of even making the first step. So, um, I get help to not like do that all the time. But also, like with the boys, I remind them, like, for example, Trey he kind of has picked up this thing. Like, he overthinks and he, like, has a scenario for the scenario. I'm just like, help me, Lord. So we share, which, again, back to your children being the teachers that you need to help you grow. I have to grow and heal on this journey to guide him and help him not get here at 37 and deal with these things. So he's always like, oh, on Tuesday, can we blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, well, what about Sunday? Let's be here in Sunday. Or, oh, on Wednesday, we're supposed to blah, blah, blah. And I just don't know if I'll be able to. Okay, but you're here. Your feet, be where your feet are. You're here in Sunday. You can't let something in Wednesday scare you for
Mhm.
the next 3 days because now you haven't enjoyed life in this. You can't get this time back, you know? So I talk to them and myself. It's like I'm preaching to me when I encourage them because it's easy to just go other places. Yes, Tiffany said, stay in your body, be here. Um, because I've seen what not being in this space has led to, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and it's not, I mean, looking back, it's not, it makes for a great essay, but it was terrifying. You know, it was one of the hardest experiences to have to navigate. Um, and I don't want them to have to experience that. So, yeah, it's a daily, yeah, I'm always encouraging them and myself. Um, and then I lean like it opens with Psalm 91, and that has just been my go-to to like ease whatever fears that have risen up, even if I didn't feel this spiritual connection,
Mhm.
which happened, you know, more often than not, where it just felt like I'm saying this thing, but I don't, it's not stopping the fear. But I believe enough that if I pray it and marinate on it and meditate on it, that it gets in my spirit enough that whenever the things arise that make me feel like I can't, I have enough affirm within me to at least tackle it in the moment and like breathe and move forward. So teaching them all of those things too.
I love that. I really, really do. I think that reminds me of a conversation that Lacey and I had once. She talked about how her preacher kind of preached a sermon like similar to that. So you but keep preaching them sermons, girl. Keep preaching. Because like when you talk about not waiting, you know, like well that's Wednesday is Sunday, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think in the context of the sermon it was kind of like, you know, like God can intervene between the two.
Right.
So it's like I like again I think that that's what you're doing is great. You know, all you can do is uh tell them, you know, kind of like repeat those things to them and hope that it really, like you said, like how it gets in your spirit, like it gets in their spirit too.
Yeah. And I
I
think we do that even, you know, with just like work. We can have like something in work, like, oh my gosh, I have this thing coming up on 2 weeks from now. And it is just like weighing you down for 2 weeks. You're like dreading the thing. And you just like, and then you get to the thing and it's not, you know, it's not.
wow, blood pressure up, been up at night, food, I haven't been. Why was I doing?
Yes.
That's true.
So you've been robbed of 14 days or whatever. Um, when you could have been like, you know, frolicking and joyful, watching something that makes your heart smile. You know what I mean? Like, so I know that it's easier to just say than like when you get in those moments, but I put a lot of these affirmations throughout to just encourage people to really take those moments to be where your feet are, even in if everything around you feels like chaos.
Hmm.
Because this is the only November 21st, 2021 that we get. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna, we'll get another November 21st, but it won't be 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's very real. Very, very real. Okay. I don't know. I don't think that we've mentioned it today, but you've broken the collection down into four different parts.
Yes.
And the fourth part is affirm, unmask. And I know that I want to talk to you about this just because the first time I read it, it stuck out to me so much. And through in preparation through this, I had that same feeling. I guess I'm gonna start with this question. Did you know that, or was it intentional in that part of the collection to honor the baby that you miscarried,
Yes.
your daughter?
Yes.
It was.
Um,
I hope we don't
it,
cry. If we do cry, this is a safe, okay? Because this is a safe space. Um, but was that
yes. It was. Which is where like I put it where I put it was intentional. Because they're hard. They were hard to write. They were hard to edit. They were hard to read through. Um, and so I just didn't want to kick it off in the first section, like, get heavy, you know. But as like a closure to um, just the themes that I've shared about grief and healing, that having that in the fourth section was important. Um, and even, it being unmasked is like, okay, I guess I'm ready to actually share and stop pretending it doesn't hurt or that I don't think about it. Um, and I haven't talked about it, but I keep writing about it. So surely this can help somebody else. So, yeah.
um,
Um,
that you share her name in one of the pieces, like with the
did I?
and
Oh, I, which are you talking about? Page 110.
Olivia
That was in reference to the color
with
purple.
reference to the color purple.
Hmm.
A part of me felt like that, but then a part of me felt like, and I guess I kind of even wanted to ask, like, share that, like you sharing her name with us, or but it's even though it is a reference, it's like that is
Yeah,
giving.
yeah. Because in that it was where I talked about, seeing your name given to another. There was a name that I'd already had picked out, and
Okay.
so that I don't think is in that one, but in a different piece where I talk about that. But a lot of the threading of like the color purple and feeling that just resonating with Celie in those moments in the movie where it was like, where's my baby? Um, so that, yeah, that particular one is in reference to, and if y'all hadn't read The Color Purple, I mean, read it, watched it, if it's a good, yes. Oh, Tiffany said 113. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wanted to know, how do you encourage mothers who have experienced a miscarriage, or people in, like, mothers who are dealing with maybe like even like the loss of a child, or like just grief, especially because you have, personally, like, really, you've experienced that. How do you, you know let them know that, like they're going to, like, have, like, better days are ahead, or, like life is still ahead?
Yeah. This was a part of that. And hoping that sharing these pieces and sharing my heart and my truth, that once I realized this year that I haven't really healed, and or maybe I don't understand what grief looks like.
Mm.
I think I had this like, okay, the thing happened and you just figure out how to move forward. Um, but I began having dreams, and we talked about me and dreaming and how that is just a big part of me. and how God speaks to me in the night. So the dreams were they I kept giving a baby away,
Mm.
and I would wake up, but I knew it was my baby, but there was no indication that it was my baby in the dream. You know what I mean? And so I had this feeling of connection to this person, but it belonged to someone else. And they were like, not like every night. And so I'd wake up just in tears. I'm like, why? I I'm past this, right? Like even down to like the reality that there was no we didn't know what if it was a boy or a girl. I just felt like, and I'd had previous dreams where it was shown to me that it was,
Mhm.
so even just the intricacy of that and how connected I felt, I'm like, this is grief. And I think there's a post that has been going around where people are like, grief. People think that grief is like this thing that goes away as like life goes on, but really your life grows around it. And it's like a three picture thing. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, like, why do we think that life's most painful moments, if it's losing a child or a parent or a close friend or, you know what I mean? Like any type of loss, why do we expect that we will just get over it? And why do we have this unspoken timeline about how long it should take? What are the acceptable parameters of time to grieve? Um, and I don't think prior to me having these experiences the last few months, in my own like grief, that I felt this way. But recognizing now, especially with all of the tears that I've cried and, how tender everything, like, it's like we're reliving the moment where I expected that it would just go away.
Mm.
So, one page that has really like helped me just heal and not like totally, but like get to a place where I can do this and like talk about it and not like cry is it's a page called I Had a Miscarriage. And her name is Jessica. She does a great job curating a space for people who have lost a baby at 8 weeks or 4 weeks, or those who have had delivered stillborns. Um, and to not make anyone feel like your loss is any greater or better than someone else's, because that is another thing like that I had to deal with, feeling like, oh, it was early, so is it even worth talking about it, or it's not as long as someone else's, then there's like this comparison of
Mm.
loss.
Mhm.
This is crazy,
Right.
you know? So, yeah, finding those pockets of spaces, like one of the great things about social media is, you can create the space that you want and the experience that you want on here for what you were needing and looking for. And I just choose to use the space as a place to connect with people who are healing and growing and loving, and that has helped me, find those places. And her page has been tremendous at that. I mean, just reading the comments, because she's not like, Kaneeka, this is this one is for you. But, yeah, just me like reading other people sharing has just been very healing and helpful. So
So you encourage others to do the same. I
yeah, find those spaces.
I think this is such an amazing job, like I said, of honoring her. And in the fourth part of the book, the unmask, affirm unmask.
Yeah.
This is from the last poem, Broken Grass. Again, we're not giving the
Mm-hmm.
people all, everything, but just so y'all can feel what I feel. Something that Kaneeka says. Again, the title is Broken Grass. I feel her existence, though she never existed. And it's like, it's just, again, I was just feeling all the feels. I kept going,
Yeah.
to like a couple of those poems, and kind of just like, I just kept, um, you were so vulnerable. I feel like you were so vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
You were so honest and raw. And again, that's why I think it is a love letter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of gave you more details. I didn't say this at the beginning, but I think I kind of mentioned in my, kind of like review to you that
Mm-hmm.
love is not just the good stuff. It's kind of like, again, like when you lose love, and I'm
Yeah.
just or when it's hard sometimes, like even like thinking about how motherhood with Trey and Cole, it's like it's like some days it's good, some days I want to pull my hair out.
Yeah.
That's love. That's what makes it a true love letter, because again, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just the warm and the fuzzy and like it's amazing and I have it all together
Yeah.
and I know what I is that, oh my God, again, I can, yeah, what did everybody say earlier? Can't even leave the house.
Yeah.
It's a test.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like you said, it was like the perfect, and it truly made it like a love letter. Like, so thank you for being so vulnerable,
Yeah.
audience, because I think that it definitely connects us all.
Yes. Yeah.
It definitely connects us.
Yeah.
Kanika, I do have another. I have another question that I really want to ask you. I know we're at an hour.
All right.
Can
Time flew by. I will.
I come through with one more, please?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I really have a couple of more, but it's like we're gonna just see it. Let me at least get this one in. Of course, we're here, and the focus, of course, is Black motherhood and womanhood. But I did want to know, how do you feel, or what would you say the difference is between Black motherhood and Black parenting? Because of course you're not a single mom, like you
Hmm.
have a beautiful family, like with Scott, and so of course like you're the mother, but it's like what is Black parenting like? And I almost kind of want to do what Cherie did and say like, is there a book there like you talk about? And my boo, not me and Naj, we always kind of be talking. We be trying right now before it even start. Like we
Yeah.
know what we gonna do, how we gonna do it, but what is it?
Um.
And I don't want to take the focus away, but I kind of want to. It's just something there that I want to.
Yeah. That is a good question, Kayla. So I guess just off the top, I would say that the difference is how they see me.
Okay.
I think they'll always see us as a team, but I'm the first woman that they'll have in their lives. You know what I mean? Um, but together, Scott and I, we may differ on some things, but for the most part, we try to like agree, like, okay, this is, how we're gonna lead and how we're going to teach. And I think that's important. Like, yeah, that is a whole separate book because um, I shared after that episode with Lawrence Hive on Insecure, people were like, it like shut the internet down because that was like that example of Black parenting. And I shared that it's important that people have these discussions like before you have kids, to see like, do we even share? We can share like our love for going to the movies and whatever other things that people, enjoy, but we have the same values in parenting? Do we see children the same way? Do we envision like how to discipline? Are we on the same page? People don't think to have those conversations until like after the kid gets here, which makes sense because it's like, why would we talk about this
Yeah, what
beforehand,
you gonna do?
Right. But if you hadn't like even mentioned it or like ran it by prior to having a baby, then yeah, it can create a little chaos. I think initially, the first time around, we definitely were on some like different wavelengths, like we, Kiera said, Lawrence made my blood pressure spike.
Okay, messed up on the comments. I'm not seeing the comments, but it's okay. We're gonna
Oh
keep.
no, okay.
I don't know what happened, but I'm not seeing the new comments.
Oh no. But I think as we've grown though, and also, you grow together and you have to communicate and work through those like, but there has to be some type of like solid foundation, like overall, even if we have a difference of opinion and like approach, um, I'm more honest and like I want to like, okay, do we need to talk about puberty and like in full depth? And sounds like
Right.
maybe it's too soon for all that. Because the human development background, I'm like, I have books and we can flip to this page because I don't want you guys to get this from school.
Kaila,
And he's more like,
slow down.
I yeah, like that's like collegiate level, maybe they're in elementary school. So like scale it back. But foundational. What is our foundational like parenting philosophy? Do we share the same? And I think for us, the biggest thing is like we see our boys as humans. I like the end. And I think from there we can build everything else. But I think if you share this, like, I see my children as like a human, and your partner is like, no, they are like lesser than everybody else, then it's going to create this friction in how you parent for sure, but even in your own like relational dynamic, So now they're stepping into a whole whirlwind of chaos.
Okay,
So,
I get that. You answered that.
but
Great. So we're just gonna add that there is a seed of like Black parenting potentially. We just a seed. We don't know what we're gonna do with it.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, since you can't see the comments, I have to
Yes, I can. The last comment
oh no.
way earlier. I heard you mention some comments, and I was thinking I'm not gonna throw up. It's like I'm not seeing them, but it's okay.
Yes, Tiffany said, do we see children the same way? That's so big and often overlooked. Yes. Alicia said, hubby and I have very different experiences from how we were parented. And yeah, and that, you have to consider that too when you are partnering and coming together and creating your own family. Like, what were my experiences as a child and what were yours? And do we find, are there some good parts in that we want to share? And, everything else, how do we want to create our own experience? And so many families are really, especially like Black families, are being more conscious in their parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for me, like that, I feel like giving kids the space to like share and cry,
Mm-hmm.
which, like crying
Mm-hmm.
can be like, why are you crying? Because their emotions matter and they need that space to not be all built up and walking around thinking that they have to be all whatever hardcore. Um,
That's
and
very
so
true.
that, yeah, that has, as far as like Black families, has been something that I've noticed a lot of families really leaning into being
I
more
love,
intentional with how we parent.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Brittany said, I love this discussion. Yes, Tiffany said yes, especially for our boys. Yes. Yeah. Because, yeah, boys are expected to be
Which
a
okay,
certain way. And
question that I kind of finish. We're gonna wrap it up after I hit this last one with the same thing. So, the concept that I feel like I don't know, we just hear it all the time, and as an adult, it truly, truly did hit me, especially like growing up with me, and I had a younger brother. Um,
yeah.
like why was some things different for him and then it was with me and I was the oldest and it was still like that. But I guess I do understand now that, women are like trying to teach their daughters how to be women. And, so
Hmm.
they are harder on their girls. And I think that men are typically harder on the boys because they're trying to teach them how to be men.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that is true? And especially, I guess, like being like, right, like you're the boy mom. So, like, right. And even kind of when you mentioned, like, how you like, we'll talk about puberty, and Scott is like, hold up, let me,
Yeah.
like, how that is, like true, or what is your experience with that thus far? Like, that idea.
We definitely don't have this like, I need you to be a man. Like, I don't even like for the boys, they're getting a little bit older, and Trey does have a like child-friendly book about puberty. So
Okay.
he knows, like I may get hair in my armpit one day, and so they'll joke and be like, I'm a man, and I tell them, and I mean, we both do. No, you're not. And that most people are raising their or did in the past, raise their boys like you are. You're the next in line man of the house, kind of thing. Um, and yeah, what does that even mean?
Okay.
Like raising raising you to be a man. What does that mean? Like responsible, loving, thoughtful?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Pushing
what?
those boundaries. Or like like right reimagining like those ideas, those boundaries,
Right. Yeah.
those
And
boxes.
yeah, like I think growing up, it definitely meant one thing, but over here, it it doesn't mean those things. We're definitely like, I want you to be loving and a kind person because then you can grow up and be a man who's loving and a kind person, not whatever hyper masculinity world that, may be the norm. Um, don't curse your tears if you cry. Learn good, like breathing and how to pray and meditate, how to manage all those things. Because one day you'll be a man who needs to be able to manage like your emotions and be able to breathe and meditate and pray. So that is like our be a man approach. Like it's based on um
Being a good person.
being a good person first.
Being a good person. I love that.
Nothing, yeah, nothing else. Nothing, because those are the things that matter, you know?
Mhm. I love that. I love that. I love
So,
it. We could keep you
oh,
tonight.
Kier,
Oh, but
Kier said, oh, can you see comments now?
I can't. But so I'm right. I'm like, right. You
No,
have.
you still. Kier said there's a video circulating of a young boy being encouraged not to cry after getting a shot at the doctor's office, and he kept saying, "I'm a man," while he was clearly tearing up. It was so cringe. Yeah, like,
But
what does that mean?
I cry in front of my students sometime when I'm having a
Yeah,
bad.
I was gonna,
But I
yeah,
feel like to kind of let them know, like, hey, I'm having a hard day today, and it's okay that I'm crying. I'm gonna push through it. Like kind of we gonna continue to have.
yeah,
I am having a hard day, or it's like, like I need y'all to be, my patience is a little thin today, but and I also tell them that too. I want you all to know there's nothing wrong with crying. Like I'm just
yeah,
hot right now. I need to get it out, and it's like, and it's okay. And like you,
yeah,
my young, like, and right to like my young boys, to the young girls,
mm-hmm,
like I say that all the time. To the men in my family, and to like, to Naj, my boyfriend, it's
yeah,
like that's, we all just, need that release, and it's nothing wrong.
mm-hmm, yeah. I do think that, maybe we didn't have time to cry during slavery and like Jim Crow, and because we had to fight and get stuff done like there. But I think that, still holding on to that ideology of like suppress and don't, like Frozen, like Elsa the Ice Queen. We don't have to be Elsa out here. Elsa tore up a whole town just because she refused to feel.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I does feel like, for sure, as a collective, that idea is change. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been like especially the idea of like not crying.
Yeah,
You said being more conscious with parenting, and and in relationships and all of those things. So it's really beautiful. Like that is,
yeah,
you all are fully embodying, you get what I'm saying? Like those
yeah,
conscious um aspects of parenting. That's really,
yeah,
and encourage, and then and encouraging others to do the same, or
yeah.
and to rethink some of the things, that were done to us, like a lot
Hmm.
of, like we just keep them going, or we just
Right.
like thinking those things, but even to like challenge some of the things that maybe like, we've been taught, or that we grew up believing. So
Yeah.
a thing to know that you all are kind of, championing. You get what I'm trying to say? I can't say
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. What if we all did,
true, true.
Like, what if we all focused on raising kind, loving, emotionally fluid and stable children? Like, not stable, like, but, like free to feel.
Mhm.
And I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that I think about. Like, what if we all like felt this way? What kind of community, like Black community, could we have? I don't know.
No, you're right.
Tiffany said, "Let it go."
Oh, now, okay, let it go and let it out. What is it? Relax, relax,
Yes.
relax, relax, release.
Release.
Beautiful people.
Yes.
If not, get your copy. Get your copy. Look at this. Look at
Yes.
these are amazing. Okay, and this isn't my marked up one. Just know I had one that's all
This is your marked up one, and
save
yeah.
save it for me.
I'm gonna
So
save it
yeah,
and give it so you can have it.
thank you. Well, thank you for allowing me to
Hi,
be.
Stevie. Hi, Auntie.
So when is your next virtual book tour?
So
When is
yeah, so tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. I will be back on here with Tiffany. She is in here, Rose with Words. And we're gonna catch up and chit chat leg three, and then the last stop will be Alicia on Tuesday, the 23rd. We're gonna close it. What? Wait. Yes.
don't
All my days are all mixed up, but I have it in my story. If I didn't say the days right,
check
I know
IG
Tiffany's tomorrow, and I think Alicia is Tuesday. So we'll
Tiffany
be on here.
tomorrow. I'll be here with my popcorn.
Yes. So join us both nights at 7:30 because we got kids that we are gonna have to try to get the bed out.
Okay.
Get in the bed.
I see you too, Alicia. So we're gonna close it out. I'll be here, ladies.
Yes. But thank you all for jumping in and joining and chatting with us. Kaila, I love you so much. Um, Tissue, you have just encouraged me so much throughout this entire process, not just like the active like okay I'm gonna actually pull this book together and like write it, which was like the last year, but even before then, when like I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago I told you I kind of want to write a poetry book for mothers, and really focus in on like Black mothers, and you have just championed me every step of the way. Especially when I was like, girl, I don't think I'm gonna do this. I think on one of our FaceTimes, I was like, I don't think Kayla.
Your light
Um,
is so bright. I always tell you that, and it is so true. It deserves, to just shine. Like I know it's such a, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. But like so like Easter Sunday, and you know what I'm saying, we were little kids, but at the core, like when we talk about like being a light and seeing the light and like being a reflection of God's light and God's love, you are that. You are that. And I mean it every time I say like I am. You are a God friend, and I'm so blessed to know you, you know,
yes, I'm so thankful for
close
you.
personal, like relationship with you and your gifts, writing, your dream work. She about to
Yeah.
postpartum doulaship is coming. It's
I
cert-
am.
certification is on the way.
Stevie said I'm in full cancer mode with tears, and I am.
Yeah, you have so many gifts, and you have to keep sharing them. And I'm gonna be here. As long as I'm here, I'm gonna be here
Thank you.
encouraging you because it's like again, God's light is in you.
Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you too.
I
Okay,
truly appreciate it.
make sure you say
Yes.
share with the people. We're gonna keep on getting these. Make sure you get your copy again.
Yes, get your copy, and if you read it, leave a review. We independent authors, we need this feedback so other people can see it and be like, "Oh yeah, let me check out this book." So, thank you. I love you guys. I truly appreciate all the love. I
Thank you,
love you, sis.
sis. And I love you too. Mwah, 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 mwah.